Good morning everyone. I welcome you all to this session, and in this session let's continue our discussion with decision rule at the receiver end. So in our previous class we did got to know that decision rule can be thought of as a rule where we can set estimate of m as equal to transmitted message signal if and only if probability of mk sent given x received is maximum, and only when this metric is maximum we can assign this estimate to be our transmitted message signal. So we call this rule as decision rule, and we started to simplify this conditional probability. Because this is conditional probability, we started to simplify this conditional probability, and for that we made use of a rule called as Bayes rule. So for that we made use of a rule called as Bayes rule, and according to Bayes rule, in general, if we are having a conditional probability such that we are supposed to find probability of event A given B, then it can be rewritten as probability of B given A into probability of event A whole divided by probability of event B. So let's make use of this Bayes theorem, and let's try to rewrite this probability of mk sent given x is received in this form. So that which lands on to conditional probability x given mk sent into probability of mk sent whole divided by probability of x, and in turn this being a conditional probability, that which is in turn representing probability density function, we can call this as conditional probability density function, abbreviated as PDF, and PDFs are given in terms of or denoted in terms of small letter f. So here we'll make use of the same notation, small letter f subscript capital X, where x is the random variable, or we can also call it as the observed vector of small x, where small x can be thought of as a sample function of this random variable capital X given mk into pk, and this denominator term can be thought of as unconditional PDF. And we have written the same thing over here, where the first term is the prior probability. So it's called as prior probability because it is based on a past event, because this is based on a past event and we already know that value. And what is that value? Because we are trying to consider a message source that which is containing m message symbols that which are equally likely to occur or equiprobable in nature. So the probability of this pk can be thought of as 1 by m. So this value is already known and can be eliminated or neglected from our decision rule. Likewise, the denominator term that which represents unconditional joint PDF can also be eliminated, because this won't depend upon the message signal that which is been received, because the value of unconditional joint PDF is same for all message signals that which have been received, and thereby first term and the third term can be eliminated from our decision rule. Only thing that which we are trying to do is we are trying to simplify our decision rule. So when these two terms are eliminated, we will be left out only with the second terminology, that which is conditional PDF. So here we can rewrite the decision rule as to set estimate of m as equal to message symbol transmitted if conditional PDF is maximum for k equal to I. So now let's associate one more mathematical operator onto this conditional PDF, that which we call as natural log. So when we introduce this natural log is given in terms of log to the base e, and it's also denoted as just ln, and we call this as ln of likelihood, because this conditional PDF is representing the likelihood function. So this is in turn called as log likelihood function. and this term over here, that which is trying to represent log likelihood, and this conditional PDF looks familiar to us because we have already discussed this part in our previous topic under the heading statistical characterization of correlator outputs. Under this topic, so here is where we are having conditional PDF f of x given mi. So this is our conditional PDF. Only difference is instead of k we are having I over here. So that's the only change over here. So let's make use of this equation for our derivation. So this entire thing is equal to conditional PDF f of x given mk, such that here I got to replace I with k. Now to this, we all know that we are trying to introduce natural log on both sides. So let's apply natural log, that is log to the base e, on both sides. That in turn yields an ln of f of x given mk. So this we call it as likelihood function, that which is represented as capital L of mi. So this is in turn equal to, if I apply log onto our RHS side, here I will have log to the base e of pi n naught to the power minus n by 2 into e to the power minus 1 by n naught summation j starting from 1 to n of xj minus x. Instead of I will use k subscript over here because we are trying to write it for mk. So it's s subscript kj whole square, bracket close. So now, according to principles of logarithm, we have a rule where we know that multiplication gets converted to addition after applying a logarithmic operator. So it in turn gets converted to log a plus log b. And in turn we also know one more property of log, that which says if we are having log of a to the power b, so this b jumps onto the front, and in turn we can rewrite it as b into log a. And we do also have one more property, that which says if we are having log to the base a of a, in turn its value is equal to 1. So let's keep these three properties of logarithmic operator in consideration for simplifying this equation. So over here, because of multiplication sign that which we are having, this gets converted to summation or addition between two terms, where the first term is log to the base e of pi n naught to the power minus n by 2 plus log to the base e of e to the power minus n naught summation j starting from 1 to n xj minus skj square and let me make use of our second rule, where we can bring in the power term onto its front. So in turn we'll have minus n by 2 log to the base e of pi n naught minus 1 by n naught log minus n naught summation j starting from 1 to n of xj minus skj square into log to the base e of e, and in turn, because of this third rule, we got to know that this is equal to 1. So this entire thing boils down to minus n by 2 log to the base e of pi n naught minus 1 by n naught summation j starting from 1 to n of xj minus skj whole square. So this entire thing is equal to likelihood function ln of conditional probability fx x given mk. Now back in this equation we can neglect our very first term, so this thing can be neglected. So this thing is neglected because this first term comprises of only constant values. Because this is containing only constant values, so it's independent of message signal that which has been received. So we can deliberately neglect it, and we can consider only the second part for our next simplification. So here, because of this we'll retain only the second part. We'll retain only the second term over here for our decision rule. So because of that, our decision rule changes to vector x lies in the region zi f minus 1 by n naught summation j starting from 1 to n of xj minus skj square is maximum for k equal to I. So here, instead of using the statement set m cap equal to mi, we are changing it to vector x lies in the region zi, because we are considering this constellation diagram where we are considering some region z1, z2, z3 and z4, and if our observation vector lies within this region, so it will be equated to some message point within that region. So it's all based on this decision boundary. So because of that, we are changing this statement to vector x, that is observational vector x lies in the region zi. So zi can be any region. So in our previous case, we are having 4 regions. For n dimensional space, we can have n such regions. Or here I can also change the statement to vector x lies in the region zif. So here in our next step, because we know that this minus 1 by n naught is again a constant value, and if I neglect this, if I take out this value, this maximum changes to minimum. So because we are trying to take out this negative value out of this equation, so here if I try to restructure the same decision rule statement, instead of using maximum terminology, we'll switch to minimum. So only if this summation j starting from 1 to n of xj minus skj whole square is minimum, only then we can say that vector x lies in the region zi. So further, let's try to simplify this, and we all know that this thing represents the distance between observational vector and the message point, or we can also call this as Euclidean distance. So this shows that maximum likelihood decision rule is simply to choose the message point closest to the received signal point. And for better understanding of this, let's consider this diagram wherein we are having 4 signal points S1 of t, S2 of t, S3 of t and S4 of t, such that this red dot or the orange dot represents the signal point, and whereas this blue dot over here is trying to represent the observational point, or the received signal point. Now here, because of that equation, that which is summation j starting from 1 to n of xj minus skj square, in turn we are trying to find out the Euclidean distance between our signal point and the received signal point, because this thing represents signal point and this term over here represents the observational point. And we are trying to conduct subtraction between those 2 points and we are trying to square it. So this in turn leads to the distance value. So if I am trying to do subtraction between this x and with that of this S1 of t, will in turn get the value as equal to d1, likewise d2, d3 and d4. And out of all these distances, which distance is lesser? So obviously diagrammatically we can get to know that d1 is lesser than that of d2 in turn. So out of all these distances, d1, d2, d3 and d4, the least value is d1, and thereby we can assign x as equal to S1 of t. So that's the meaning of this mathematical representation. Now let's try to further simplify this, because this thing that which is within the brackets is in the form of a minus b whole square, that which when expanded can be rewritten as a square plus b square minus 2ab. So if we do so, we'll in turn have it as xj minus skj whole square. So this in turn can be written as xj square plus skj square minus 2 times of xj into skj term. And here, because of summation operator, that which is linear, we can apply summation onto all these terms, in turn resulting in summation xj square plus summation xkj square minus 2 summation xj into skj, where j starts from 1 to n. If we closely examine this equation, here this part over here, this term over here represents energy of a signal. So this represents energy of a signal, and over here the first summation term of this expansion is independent of index k. So because this term involves no index k pertaining to the transmitted signal vector xk, and therefore this thing can be neglected. So the first thing can be eliminated out of our consideration, and these 2 terms will be considered because this has index. The second term as well as the third term contains the index k. So these 2 terms will be retained, and out of these two terms the last term represents energy of that signal, because by now in Gram-Schmidt's orthogonalization process we have seen that if we are having some signal x1 of t, its energy can be calculated as summation starting from 0 to t of s1 of t square dt. So if we are having a signal x1 of t, its energy can be calculated as like this, and we know one more equation where s1 of t can be equated to coefficient value s11 into phi1 of t, and in turn if I were to relate this energy with that of this coefficient value, so this can be given as s11 square value. So in turn over here energy if related to this coefficient value, that which is skj, so we can have it as E1 in turn equal to S11 square. So using this equation back over here, so by now first term has been neglected because it has no index of k. So in turn we will be left out only with these two terms, where this term can be thought of as energy of that signal. So in turn I can rewrite this as Ek minus 2 summation j starting from 1 to n xj into skj. And out of this equation, if I take out negative sign as well as 2 out of this entire equation, I'll in turn have it as equal to, so here because I got to compensate for minus 2, here I got to forcefully add in minus 1 by 2 over here, such that when minus 2 gets multiplied over here, minus into minus will convert it into plus, and 2 gets cancelled. So here we will have minus 1 by 2 of times Ek plus summation j starting from 1 to n xj into skj. And because we have used negative sign, because we are having negative sign outside, so here again we will change our statement of decision rule. So because you got to remember that if we are having minus sign over here, because of this minus sign we had used terminology maximum over here, and because we are having positive sign here we had used minimum terminology over here, but again we are landing on to minus sign at the equation, and because of that again we are trying to reframe this terminology back to maximum. So I hope you got why this has been again changed to maximum. So this has been changed to maximum just because of this minus 2 term. So even though it's neglected over in this equation, but this maximum term is actually based on this negative 2, but this being a constant value has been neglected. It has been just neglected, but it has been considered in the statement form. So just because of this terminology of negative 2, here we are changing our decision rule statement again back to vector x lies in the region zi if and only if this value is maximum for k equal to I. So this is the decision rule, and we are having decoders that which employ this decision rule, And decoders that which employ this decision rule are of two types. One is correlation receiver, the other one is matched filter receiver, and we'll be going through these two in our next class. So till then, stay healthy and stay safe. Thanks for watching.